Yo, what's good, gamers? What's good? My name is Dr. Sensei.com. There you can receive all the resources. And if you want to today, though, returning back to the Ryan Reads, and today we're talking about escapism and video games. So if this is you, or raves, or questions about whatever they want to talk about, and if you're a part of the Discord community, my goal for changing the time is I want to be a little more energetic for these streams so I can get some information for all of you and be awake and exciting. All right, this article is called Escaping Through Virtual Gaming. What is the association with emotional, social, and mental health? A systematic review. This comes from you, Marques, Uchida, Aguilar, Cadril, Santos, and Barbosa, and these believe are in South America. I believe there's a really big Japanese, like, population in South America and Brazil. All right. Introduction. It is well established how video games and virtual reality have become integral parts of our lives. Similarly, the increased number of games being used for treatment or intervention to aid individuals with neurological disabilities, neurocognitive disorders, or to improve physical health has gained prominence. In the USA, a country with one of the largest number of players globally, approximately 97% of children and adolescents spend at least 1 hour playing video games daily. I think that's the other thing too. Like, people don't understand how everyone's a gamer. Even if you play like Candy Crush or mobile games, you're a gamer. Uh, People love games. Motivations for playing include stress relief, the challenge of games, social interaction, and older adults more likely to cite cognitive benefits. Ayo. I think this is really important to think about why you're playing for games, right? Because I think the why you're playing games can also dictate the benefits or the not benefits of playing games. Additionally, other studies have highlighted reasons such as escapism, achievement, and competition. Okay. As presented by Zanita et al., typically 10 motivations can be observed among online game players. All right. Does this sound like you? Advancement, becoming powerful, mechanics, competition, socializing, relationship, teamwork, discovery, role-playing, customization. If these sound like you might like video games. I think that's really interesting, though. These are really interesting things. And escapism, lastly. I think this is really, really important because, like, what makes you want to play the game is really important to understand why you play your game, what you're trying to get out of your game. Like, and if you're trying to get something like one of these things... Come here, Tommy. Come on. Get me here. Like, if you're really intentional about one of these categories, it might be really interesting to understand. Ooh, I mean, maybe I'll take this. This is a really good activity, actually. What I mean by this is, like, what I mean activity is if you were going to rank order each of these 10 things, like, what would your, like, top 3 things be? And then I'm really curious if, like, you're on a team, if your top 3 things would match, like, someone else's top 3 things. And the goal of a team, I think, would be to understand everyone's motivations so they could all be on the same page, because I'm guessing if the constellation of the top 3 things on a team is too far and spread out, then I'm guessing that might not be a cohesive team, versus if everyone is into, like, teamwork, mechanics, and relationship, versus, like, becoming powerful, role-playing, customization, escapism. I bet you, like, the closer they are, the more cohesive the team will be, versus more spread out. Or, I mean, if they're all spread out, I think something that's going to be really, really important is that you organize the team and understanding why people are playing the game this way, how they can benefit from playing together, and how the team works with all different types of motivations there and present. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. In the field of game studies, one term has garnered significant interest is escapism, which can be defined. Yo, what's good, Dr. Jeeves? Today's theme is escapism, baby. We're reading about why people escape their games or use games for escapism. At least that's what I'm thinking it's going to be about. I really wanted to read more because I almost played today. I was like, I should play on Fridays and be responsible on Mondays. Okay, here's your definition. Escapism, which can be defined as the pursuit of escaping from real life into another fictional world. Fair. Recent research, I mean, isn't from that perspective daydreaming escapism, or like anything could be escapism? But it's just the activity doesn't matter. Just I guess it matters the reason of why you're doing it. Recent research has sought to associate gaming motivation with narcissism through escapism. What? Coping strategies with negative outcomes related to escapism. Gaming escapism as a factor for internet game disorder development. I can see that. The moderating effect of escapism on relationship between loneliness and negative outcomes. I can see that. Difficulties in emotional regulation and the motive of competition as a strong predictor of IGD. Additionally, this phenomenon of escapism is also observed in other areas of life, such as addiction to alcohol, dance, pornography, and social networks. I mean, yeah, I think you can escape into anything, is what they're saying. Can escape to anything. It's more of the reason of escapism. I mean, not the reason, but the intention of the behavior. So again, this goes back down to function of behavior over behavior. Like, all these things here, they're all different things, but it's the function of the thing versus the thing itself that I think is most important. Okay. Lastly, recent research has indicated that gaming escapism can also be also associated with excessive gambling and addictive game behavior. Furthermore, it has been observed that negative outcome of gaming, influenced by escapism motives, may be exacerbated by factors such as social anxiety, competitive background, existing psychiatric distress, and low self-concept clarity. That totally makes sense. Because, I mean, if you are socially anxious around people, you might want to play video games by yourself in your room. A competitive background, maybe you want to definitely continue to compete and things like that. And so because of that, you escape, quote unquote, the real world into the competitive thing. I mean, psychiatric distress, does that need to be said? And low self-concept or clarity. I mean, I'm thinking if you find value in your games more than your real life, then you'll probably play more games. Makes sense? It is essential to emphasize that escapism, when applied to gaming, does not inherently carry a negative connotation. Does not inherently carry a negative connotation. Massive. It can also serve as an emotion regulatory strategy encompassing intentional distraction during emotional intense situations and emotional suppression following an already established emotional impact. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, if that's the purpose and intentional. I think that needs to be said. Like, I think games definitely can serve as a way to help you heal and a way to distract yourself from what's going on so you can better process it. I think for sure. At the same time, if you're purposely using it for that purpose, but I think people just go into it not intentionally. But I do think if you are intentionally using your game to like distract you from the day or for you to become a better human, for sure. At the same time, I think it's important that you intentionally set your purpose for that. Moreover, restricting our understanding of escapism in gaming to its negative connotation can unfairly characterize gaming solely as a negative activity. However, gaming is not exclusively an act of escapism, but can also be motivated by a quest for enjoyment and diversion. Is that distraction? Hence, to comprehensively assess the positive or negative nature of the association between escapism motivation and mental health, it is essential to consider various factors, including cultural context in which gaming practices occur. Cultural context, okay. Considering the abundance of strategies that have explored the relationship between escapism and engagement in virtual games, it is now opportune to examine the emotional, social, and mental health impacts arising from gaming practices driven by escapism motives. Therefore, this systematic review aims to consolidate key studies linking virtual game practices with escapism, with the intent of evaluating whether escapism indeed serves as a detriment of such practices and whether these activities have a positive or negative effect on mental health. Wanting to be my best gaming has led me to have healthier habits in my daily life, so as does have some positives. See, I think that's the thing, though. I think you've actually incorporated gaming with a purpose, and the purpose is to help you have healthier habits, or maybe it's the byproduct of you prioritizing games and wanting to create a structure around it that the other things have also been structured so you can do better games, thus you have more regulation in your time and more focus. So absolutely, I think it can be. I think it's when these things become unbalanced, or when people are not intentional about how they want to play their games, or when they want to play their games, or their limits and boundaries that they put upon games, that it becomes unhealthy. So I think the intent is there with you, Dr. Jeebus, which I think is really, really important. I think not many people are intentional with games. But here's the other thing, though. I'm not sure how many people are intentionally living their life or allow things to happen to them in general, or when they go to school, they don't have an intention of where this school is going to take them, or when they go to their job, the intention of their job and how being like what they want to get out of their job in general. So I think intentionality is in general something that's kind of hard for people. Because I do think when people are very intentional in what they do, they're more often able to achieve the thing, or at least use the thing to get what they want, and or if things aren't what they want on the way to achieving the thing that they do want, they're able to eat those things a little bit easier versus, oh my god, this is so unfair. Why is this? This is so stupid, As previously mentioned, unlike other potential motivators that often exhibit adaptive behaviors that are associated with with positive orientation, such as the pursuit of novelty, building new relationships, and curiosity. Ooh, this is a typo. Typo. Look at that. I find these often. Escapism appears to be characterized by a desire to distance oneself from reality. I can see that. This tendency may stem from a limited emotional and psychological toolkit for coping with the real world. That's a big, bold statement. I mean, fair, though. Fair. I can see why they would make that leap. In this context, drawing from existing literature, we anticipate discovering negative correlations between escapism motivation and aspects conducive to effective social adaptation, such as the cultivation of social skills, emotional regulation abilities, and overall well-being. Conversely, addictive-related behaviors like internet gaming disorder, social withdrawal, feelings of loneliness, heightened stress, as well as elevated levels of anxiety and depression are expected to exhibit a positive association with EM. Fair? Social withdrawal, internet gaming disorder, feelings of loneliness, heightened stress, anxiety and depression. Sure. I guess even with these, my question would be like, because we're looking for like the reasons for escapism, if these things, and the deeper question is like, these feelings? Because the other thing I'm thinking about is like, they're probably avoiding something. What avoiding? What are you avoiding that's making you that's causing you to just play games or avoid these things and just go into games? Like what are you avoiding? Like if it's social withdrawal, are you avoiding people? Okay, why are you avoiding the people? Or you like what are you afraid of? If it's loneliness, okay, I'm thinking that is that also avoiding the people or avoiding picking up the phone to call people or be around people or asking them to hang out? Is it rejection? What are you avoiding? If it's a heightened sense of stress, okay, what are the things that are stressing you out and what are the things that you could do to reduce that stress actively? Or you're feeling anxious and depressed, what is it what's going on and what would you do to lower those things or increase your sense of happiness or connection or whatever? So I'm thinking. All right, we conducted a comprehensive systematic search in the Scopus PubMed. Okay, looking at escapism, virtual game, or video game. Okay. All right, basically, here's a study. They read a bunch of studies. Okay. Okay. All right, out of 36 articles, 34 employed cross-sectional study, 2 utilized observational study. So they looked at 36 articles. Man. Okay. 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 Here's all your 36 studies that they went through. Give it to me. Okay. I'm just going to go to discussion because I think they're just going to talk about all the things they read. So, discussion. Here we go. This review aimed to elucidate. Ooh, elucidate. Elucidate, I believe that makes sense. Elucidate the relationship between escapist behavior and virtual games and mental health. The compilation of 36 articles predominantly utilized measures of escapism motivation to identify significant correlations between EM and various facts of mental health, categorized into 5 distinct clusters. Based on aggregated results, it can be inferred that EM has a negative correlation with mental health outcomes. Whether these pertained to gaming habits, emotional processes, ramifications on social interactions, or the nexus between real life and virtual experiences. Nonetheless, it is worth mentioning that all findings from the reviewed articles are based on participants' subjective self-assessments regarding their motivations to seek escape through virtual games. No experimental evaluations were conducted in any of the articles to empirically verify escapism behavior. Consequently, the results should not be interpreted with circumspection, as they represent self-report escapism motivation rather than observed escapism behavior. Okay. In the subsequent sections, we delve into the multifaceted aspects of EM. We commerce with an exploration of escapism as a primary motivation for engaging in virtual games, as followed by discussions of the associations of EM with gaming practices, mental health, social well-being, and perceptions of real-world experiences. We conclude by examining implications of escapist behavior for health promotion, public health, and clinical practice. Dude. This is an excellent graphic. This is a sick graphic. I like this graphic. All right. All right. Escapism as a motive/motivator. Predominant research has shown that escapism is one of the main reasons for playing video games. Moreover, as discern from this review, escapism can potentially compromise a player's health and act as a mechanism detracting from social and emotional adaptation. So, in conclusion, escapism bad. Some articles have observed a relationship between escapism and social anxiety and loneliness. In multiplayer online role-playing games, leading to an escalation in anxiety over time when the player engages with unfamiliar participants. Conversely, engaging in games with acquaintances from one's real-life circle can enhance a player's life satisfaction and reduce their vulnerability to satisfaction and reduces vulnerability to social anxiety. I never would have thought. Really? You can play games with your friends and connect with people, and that helps your relationships? Weird. I never would have thought that, bro. Never. Okay. When comparing massive multiplayer online role-playing games with first-person shooters, it was observed that MMORPG players have stronger motivations for social interactions, while FPS players reported stronger motivations for escapism. Additionally, RPG players apparently play for longer periods of time, perhaps due to the need for social interaction. That's interesting. That is interesting. That makes me wonder if different games are more... it makes me wonder if different games... Well, obviously, people play different games for different reasons. But I'm wondering if that also means that different games make it more vulnerable for you to fall into escapism. Okay. In our review, it was highlighted that escapism is primarily gauged using instruments assessing motivations for virtual game engagement. Not only do these studies determine if participants seek escape, but these subjective tools also report escapism as a significant reason for playing. Such self-assessments do not provide clinical insights or objective measures of emotional states, yet they underline the escapism motive, linking it to adverse outcomes. It is imperative to differentiate between evaluating the mere effect of escapism and the underlying motivation behind it. Ultimately, the best way to determine when the practice of virtual gaming can pose a risk or benefit to mental health is by evaluating the motive or motivator. Yes! The function of the behavior is more important than the behavior itself, boys and girls. FPS games are more stressful than MMORPGs too. They're less mental demand. Bro, have you seen people play WoW without the add-ons? That shit is crazy. Or like Final Fantasy when they're coordinating a raid. Dude, there is a shit ton of mental demand. I myself have never played it, but I'm just listening to their comms and what they're talking about, and there's a lot of mental demand. I think it's just a different type of mental demand. But also, I think that the way that MMORPGs are laid out, they're quest based. They take longer periods of time for you to finish them. Also, they probably require a party. So you were doing them with people versus I think with like FPSs, they're very like game based, points based, numbers based, where you're trying to finish this thing on the top of the leaderboard for what, 10, 20 minutes versus like, oh, I'm going to continue this story from this MMORPG. So I think like it is different. But I think also the game and the way it's made and the community around it is a lot different. It's important to discuss other motivational factors, other motivations, and compare them to escapism. That person presents an extensive discussion on game motivations, proposing 10 motivations and linking them to 39 items using a factor loading scale. The 10 motivations and their relationship are as follows: advancement, becoming powerful; mechanics, how interested you are in the precise number and percentage underlying game mechanics; competition, socializing, relationships, teamwork, discovery, role playing, customization, escapism. Okay. I still have to make these cards. This is still really good. Oh yeah, I used to play RuneScape a good bit. During the raids, it's demanding, but it's only 20% of the game. Versus FPS, your focus is always demanded. I guess you're right. It depends on, like, how into it, I guess, too, you are, right? It is mentioned that several players describe these online environments provided social outlets to which they do not have access in real life. For them, MMORPGs served as a much-needed social function, indicating that escapism appears to be the motivator associated with negative outcomes. This is different, though. I mean, I wonder if this is not escapism per se. I'm wondering if this is like socialization, not escapism, because that's what they wanted to do this for. I don't know. I don't know. That doesn't sit well with me. You're always required to learn and stay alert in FPS games, whereas MMORPGs are more passive time played. I agree there. Like, I think like it's harder to go back to like an FPS after you've had some time off versus like an MMORPG, like you can return at any time and have a good time. You know what I mean? Because I've tried to, I played like Valorant even for like a week and like had some like decent accuracy and then tried to play it again after like a month of not touching it. Absolute AIDS. Okay, game practice. Considering an important concern regarding the practice of virtual games is the development of IGD. Given the results found in the present review, it's worth highlighting the association between IGD and EM. It's been observed that escapism motivation is the strongest predictor of inner gaming disorder, contributing with loss of control over gaming and time spent on it, as well as increasing the priority of gaming upon other activities. Looking deeper into escape motivation, it is known that different motives for escaping in gaming can lead to various outcomes when it comes to gaming practice and its characteristics. A number of factors independently predict they gradually converge as predominant motivating factors for gaming, ultimately manifesting as a form of escapism. Understanding this correlation allows us to assert that factors such as autonomy, frustration, coping, competition, social motives, and fantasy pursuit can predict inner gaming disorder because they are considered to be causes of escapism. Interesting. I wonder if that's like a factor, but it doesn't. I mean, it could be a risk factor, but that doesn't mean that it auto means that they're gonna become IGD, you know, or get IDG. Individuals who feel the need to escape often turn to gaming as an option. While this is evident, it is equally important to delve into the impact that escapism has on gaming practice characteristics. In place of regular gaming, individuals with strong inclination for escapism are at higher risk of developing addictive gaming habits. In such instances, gaming often takes precedence as a central activity in the individual's life, displacing valuable time they could have been allocating to other essential life activities had problematic gaming not been a factor. The amount of time spent on gaming activities in correlation to either online and offline social support, increased gaming time has been observed as a predecessor of lower offline social support, while being related to increased online social support from other players. Offline social support is known to promote well-being, but in certain cases in which this type of social support is not presented or sufficient, online social support appears as an alternative to compensate for decreased well-being. That's really interesting. I'm not sure how that holds up now, because I'm thinking that, like, people also can connect with people online as a way of social support, and I believe that social support is also like a socially constructed perceptual thing. And like, even if you don't feel like you're being socially supported IRL, if you have like a friend online that supports you, I think your perception of social support also goes up. Apart from recreational and conventional gaming, there is another gaming genre, competitive esports. Much can be discussed about the difference between gaming for leisure and gaming as a job, but although enjoyment, sensory experiences, emotional involvement, and arousal positively affect consumers' esports game engagement, research has not been able to show whether EM, role projection, and fantasy are or not related to esports engagement. Okay, that's a whole different thing. Boom. Okay. W esports. Yeah, I don't think they're the same. Okay. All right, mental health. Escapism seems to mediate the relationship between real-world problem and virtual game use, thus being intrinsically correlated with measures related to stress, psychological distress, mental health, and life satisfaction. This supports the idea that individuals with greater difficulty adapting to the real world often retreat into games, thus also correlating with narcissistic individuals, transgender individuals, and autism. Interesting. This relationship of poor mental health with virtual game escapism seems to be more related to MMORPG and first-person shooters due to their power to escape from adverse states. Interesting. Dude, first-person shooters, watch out. I really wonder what League of Legends health is. This corroborates the research where transgender people tend to play RPG model games due to their possibility to express themselves as avatars. This also resonates with another observed article showing a correlation between virtual games and the rise of control in unemployed workers as one of the main reasons for individuals to escape from reality to the world of virtual games. Word. One detrimental aspect of EM seems to be the potential decline of self-concept clarity. What? Okay. This lack of clarity may result in individuals failing to develop effective emotional coping strategies for dealing with adverse situations in the real world, leading them to seek refuge in the realm of video games. Self-concept clarity. Failing to develop effective emotional coping strategies for dealing with adverse situations in the real world. I mean, from a different perspective, that's why some people like games, right? They have very strict boundaries. They have rules. It's very interesting. They're missing a period here. This escape does not offer genuine solutions to real-life challenges and may diminish their connection to essential social support systems due to time spent on games, thus intensifying psychological problems such as depression. It's really weird, right? Because this is avoidance behavior. The this part. I don't know how to deal with these situations in the real world, so I avoid the situations and I'll play video games. But because I'm avoiding the things in video games, I'm losing self-concept or self-confidence because I'm not addressing the real life situation. But here's the thing, man, just go for it. Address the real life situation. It may not be great, may not be perfect. At the same time, my hypothesis is if you continue to avoid the thing, it's only become worse. Shrug. It is worth highlighting the lack of longitudinal studies. Only one study is not cross-sectional. Therefore, there's a gap in understanding how these problems develop and impact mental health in the long or short term. Moreover, there's a dearth of research on the relationship between escapism and other psychological disorders, such as depression. Period and a comma? Period and a comma. Really? Period goes up there. As some studies have explored the connection between escapism and mental health, but often the participants in these studies are either generally healthy or lack confirmed diagnosis of specific psychological disorders, which can limit the broad understanding of how escapism may interact with various mental health conditions. A period and a comma again. Bros. As in any case of the studies. Period. Just hit me with a semicolon at that point, right? Just hit me with semicolons, the both of them. Yeah, I mean, I think this is really interesting. Two things that I'm getting from this article already is like, one, escapism, or if you're using your video game for escapism, it helps your self-concept or your self-confidence because you're avoiding the thing, whatever thing that is. And the more that you avoid it, the less confident you feel in addressing it. Thus, it becomes bigger and scarier. Thus, it's harder for you to carry on. So, I think that's one. That, and the second thing is, if you don't understand why, I guess there's three things. Yo, I'm the avoiding thing. Why, bro? It's not that scary. I'm thinking the funny part is, if you actually try to do it, it's more scary avoiding it than falling on your face. Because at least, here's the non-empathetic at least if you fall on your face, then you can be confident that you can get up and that you didn't die, right? Like, that's the most important thing, to realize that even if you failed, you can still get up. That's the most important thing. That, there's a lack of intentionality. I think if people play the games or when they go into the game thing and they escape, they've lost the intentionality, the purpose of the thing. And I guess if you lost the intention, the purpose, and the purpose of the playing, you also lost why you're playing it, the motivational factors. But also, I guess if you play FPS, you're screwed. Alright, so maybe I should write that down, right? So I'm here. Maybe I'll write at the top. This is my TLDR, alright? 1, avoiding decrease self-concept. 2, intentionality and purpose is greater than what was the thing I was gonna say? Is greater than behavior. Get wrecked for FPS player. I'm an FPS player, bro. Get wrecked, bro. Good luck. Good luck. Don't escape. Or good luck. There's no escape. There is no escape. Excuse me. All right, where are we? All right, social health. Social health plays a pivotal role in shaping individuals' motivations for engaging in virtual games. People with social anxiety usually have two constraining motives. All right, if you have social anxiety, shout out. Playing as a means of social interactions or playing as a form of emotional motivation, or sorry, escape motivation. Games can, well, that's it. Playing as a means of social interaction or playing forms of escape. Okay, fair. Games can assist individuals with social anxiety to better interact through the characters and story of the game. On the other hand, social anxiety could cause stress and motivate a person to play in order to avoid the judgment of other people. If you have social anxiety, do not play League of Legends or Valorant. They'll actually tell you how bad you are. The motivation behind gaming exerts a substantial influence on key factors, including the amount of time dedicated to gaming, specific genre or type of game chosen, as well as the individual's mental health and the presence of social anxiety issues. Generally, escape motivation is associated with more severe social anxiety, playing first-person shooter games, and spending less time playing compared to those who play for social interaction. That makes sense. Again, get wrecked. First person perspective. FPS players sucks. All right. Thus, the motive behind someone's gaming habits is crucial determinant in assessing and understanding the impact of a player's health. The act of playing virtual games can be erroneously associated with a solitary lifestyle, but, sorry, not but, period. Sad. Yeah, I'm scared of League of Legends players. They go for the throat, bro. And they have comms, though, in Valorant, bro. What are you talking about? They got comms. By considering various degrees of escapism, the conventional belief that psychological and social well-adjusted individuals derive benefits from engaging in virtual games, whereas those who are not in good health do not, is deconstructed. It becomes apparent that individuals who lead solitary lives can derive greater advantages from frequent involvement in gaming compared to their similarly isolated counterparts who engage less frequently. Okay. Okay, so if this is true. So this is gaming for socialization? Question mark? This phenomenon arises from the ability of virtual games to create an immersive world where individuals can experience a sense of inclusion and interact with diverse individuals. Consequently, escapism serves as a moderator of the sensation of loneliness, enabling the promotion of player immersion and compensating for the dearth of real-life interactions. So what this is saying is that gamers need friends. Is that what I heard? That's what I'm saying. They need IRL friends. Who has those nowadays, though? Am I right? Like, what? God, friends are so overrated. Social interaction is so overrated. But the transformations brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic and the social life of the entire world are undeniably significant. Dude, I don't think there's a more truer statement than that, man. I feel like everyone who graduated high school during the COVID-19 pandemic or had to like miss school because COVID-19, I feel like a lot of their socialization has been lost. Or in general, I believe like people's socialization since that time have also gone down and like we're worse for it, in my humble opinion. I mean, case in point, Love Island. I said what I said. So profound are these changes that a clear distinction between the pre-pandemic and post-pandemic era is perceptual. Perceptible. You can see it. It is impossible to disregard the importance of virtual games during the lockdown and how escapism played a vital role in maintaining social well-being. Okay, Love Island is so weird, dude. I hate that I know everything I know about Love Island through my wife and her TikTok and the entire online community. I have not watched an entire episode, but I've been shown parts of episodes, or heard parts of episodes via my wife. It's rough, man. It's rough out here. Okay, here's the thing, though. I don't know if video games are a source of escapism per se during the pandemic, or if that was a thing that was proving our mental health. You know, like, were we truly escaping, or were we trying to, like, socialize and live? I don't know. Lamau, same. I only know what I know about through TikTok and Insta Reels, dude. And it's like against my will. Like that's the worst. Like I feel like because I've said Love Island and my phone's right here, like that's all my feed's gonna be now. Thanks, Dr. Gbis. That's your fault. Thank you. I appreciate you. The prevailing perception is that virtual video games provided an avenue for escape through interaction among individuals who are unable to engage in face-to-face interactions due to lockdown, and indeed this is true. However, another crucial factor is that escapism allows virtual game players to escape from their mundane, monotonous, unsatisfying, and solitary reality. Damn! I never felt so called out in my life. Sheesh. Jeez, authors. Why do you gotta call me out on my life like that? Mundane, monotonous, unsatisfying, and solitary reality. That's a big sad face. Escapism aided people in maintaining social well-being in various ways, both for those who were alone at home and for those who were with their families but experiencing strained relationships. The creation of new activities in the virtual world sustained interactions and contributed to the preservation of mental health for those who had the opportunities to engage in virtual gaming. Yep. Therefore, playing online games is not merely about the desire to play in order to isolate oneself from social interaction. Rather, it represents the rise of a new form of social interaction. Even in first-person shooter games, FPSs, the sentiments of cooperation and teamwork are crucial for achieving optimal performance in the game. I mean, fine. The ability to communicate during gameplay is of great importance. Communication extends beyond in-game details and serves as a pathway for players to freely express themselves, such as sharing personal experiences from their real-world lives as a means of unburden. I guess. Sure. That works. Furthermore, there exists the possibility of individuals to live in games what they're unable to experience in the real world, facilitated by new avenues where one can construct, for example, a new lifestyle, a different physique, gender, or even age. Undeniably, the virtual world provided by games can be interpreted as a world where people are free to escape reality and embody different behaviors from real life in whatever they desire, which allows for social experiences of multiple lives with a single existence, thus creating more democratic form of social interaction. I believe that's what the whole thing of Second Life was, huh? To live your second life. All right. Real world life. The impact of virtual gaming on real life world can take two directions. It can be beneficial, enhancing various aspects of life, or it can move away from these potential benefits, leading to problems for gamers. Wow, really? Those two directions? Only good or bad? There's no in between? The fuck? That's funny. Could go either way. That's funny. Which way could it go? I mean, it could be good or bad. That's good science right there. That's good fucking science. It could go either way. Could you imagine if you said that to someone? Well, how's it look? It looks one of two ways. Good or bad. Science. What can this pill do? If you take it, you could live forever, you could die. That goes back to what you said. Goes back to what you said earlier. What is your intention? Absolutely, absolutely. That's really the magical sauce of this whole entire thing. Like, what are you using your game for? What are you getting out of your game? Like, what is the direction that you at least want to move with your game? That's what I'm getting from this. And I don't think they're saying escapism is bad per se. They're not putting a label on if escape is good or bad. I think they're putting the label on, like, do you know what you're using the game for? And escapism is only bad if it leads you to the other things that are also bad. Like, I think you can use your game to escape your shitty mundane life, as they would say, as long as you understand that that's what it's for, and you're willing to do that versus, balancing the escape with still doing the things that you don't want to do. I think that's part of the other thing too. All right, frustration in real world life may drive gamers to spend increasingly more time gaming, causing them to become emotionally detached or absent from their own lives. Indeed, it can create a kind of revolving door where, when personal fulfillment becomes more closely linked with the virtual world, serving as an escape from negative thoughts and challenges in real life. In this scenario, individuals may become so engrossed in the virtual realm that they forget about their real life concerns, effectively living in a more desirable virtual world. I think the thing it becomes, it's like, well, as long as gaming is not taking away from your physical health or not being able to live in the real, quote unquote, this world that sustains you, I think that's fine. But the thing is, as soon as it becomes unbalanced, that's when it's not great, right? Even though escapism from real life through gaming may seem like an appealing option, it can have adverse effects on the well-being of individuals who are isolated users with low self-esteem. Ah, unlucky. So it seems fun, but if you're an isolated player with low self-esteem and play FPSs, you're screwed. And for emotionally sensitive players, these virtual places must be mediated by social spaces to prevent negative impacts on their real-world being. Yup. Yup. So if this is you, if you're isolated with low self-esteem, make sure you have IRL friends. That seems like such a cop-out, because I mean that's like the whole circular thing, right? Like the whole reason why I'm going to games and escaping is because I don't have very many social connections. Thus, I'll find my social connections or sense of well-being in my game. So you're telling me that if I want to live a healthier life, then I have to do the scarier thing, right? Moreover, when the virtual world starts to blur with reality, players may inadvertently neglect themselves, relationships, and essential self-care activities. Additionally, there is evidence to increase dissociative experience, such as depersonalization and derealization. Makes sense. All right, let's wrap this baby up. All right, health promotion, public health, and clinical practice. Based on the findings discussed in the preceding sections, it is apparent that the practice of virtual gaming, primarily driven by escapism behavior, can have significant implications for public health. As presented in the introduction of this work, the practice of virtual gaming has become increasingly prevalent worldwide, cutting across social classes, genders, and age groups. This expansion, in tandem with the gaming industry's growth, coincides with the increasing body of research highlighting the advantages of gamification in enhancing well-being and promotion health. However, it is imperative to consider all the other facets of this growth, including potential negative consequences associated with the practice of virtual gaming. These adverse effects can encompass physical health implications along with the impact of emotional, social, and mental well-being, as well as a broader influence on social processes and even the social cultural development. The present work observed that the practical practice of virtual games, driven by primary motivation of escaping from reality, can not only signal potential harm to the individual's mental state, but also indicate possible adverse effects to their socialization and overall well-being. Consequently, it becomes evident that the impact of virtual gaming on mental health is contingent upon a thorough assessment of the underlying motives and motivators during its practice. Okay, so again, going back to the main point. Oh, you got automated? Let's see what you said. Let's see what you said. What did you say? Don't be... Basically, don't be a little bitch. Not that! I mean, not basically being a little bitch. It's basically understanding what you're using the game for. That, and if you're using it to escape, just know that you're doing it. And if you're avoiding something, what are you avoiding? And how can we lean into it a little bit more so it's not as scary? Like, I think that's the thing. Broadly understanding these findings. Don't be a little bitch. Can you imagine if your like psychologist told you that? Like, yeah, what's going on today, doc? Yeah, you're suffering from bitchitis. You just basically have to like not do that and you're gonna be fine. Dude, could you imagine if I said that? It was a reference to the earlier paragraph where they said online games can be detrimental if you're emotionally sensitive. I see. Same thing. Don't be a bitch. Broad understanding these findings, virtual games can represent a readily accessible activity, often without time restrictions and available for at-home consumption. We have games at home. We have emotional regulation at home. These engaged in as a form of escapism, they have potential to negatively affect the mental health of a significant portion of the population. Although not necessarily following a clear causal pathway, it is important to note that this study does not aim to categorize gaming as an inherent public threat to public mental health, but rather to heighten the risks associated with non-adaptive motivations, which can subtly contribute to mental health challenges. Additionally, clinical professionals should consider to aggregate the aggregated findings when working with patients who engage in virtual gaming. Furthermore, research should explore the impacts more comprehensively through experimental investigations, focusing on emotional, social, and mental real-life escapes aspects of individuals practicing virtual games and escapism. All right. So all that to say, I like this graphic. This is a good graphic. Let's do this for later. Beep. W psychologist, absolutely. Like, I like this picture. This picture's nice. But these are all just factors. Is there anything in this literature that mentions microtransactions in online games? I know it mentioned gambling earlier, but not specifically microtransactions slash loot packs. No, I haven't. This one didn't either. But there's a whole section on gambling and games and stuff like that that definitely involves microtransactions. What I'm thinking that this article does say, though, is like what this article to me said is like these are the factors that can predispose you to, what are they saying? Escape motivation, like why you would use games to escape things. Like that's what I think that if I was gonna boil this down, like here are the factors that make people want to escape or use video games for escapism. At the same time, my takeaways from this article is, what are you avoiding that's causing you to what are you avoiding that's causing you to use video games to escape? How aware are you and intentionally using video games to escape? And the behavior, yes, although it's important, what is more important is the motivation and the intention and the purpose for why the behavior is happening. Because if you can address the motivation of the behavior, there's maybe some other things that you can do to increase your social interaction or self-confidence or things like that, so you don't tend to escape into video games. That's what I'm thinking. As a most addictive quote-unquote behaviors, it's all about the function of the behavior, not just the behavior itself. So I mean that even extends to other things, like why you're trying to do things, like why you're playing the aim trainers, or why you're playing that game, or why you pick this type of game. Like, I think that's all really, really important when considering what and why you're doing the things that you're doing. Yeah. Which is really interesting, because I do think people use games a lot to escape. But, I mean, the interesting thing to think about then too is like, are you escaping to your social relationships? Are you escaping because these 10 things, right? These 10 things. Like, do you like seeing the progress in your account that you don't see in your life? Do you like seeing the progress in your ability to push the buttons and climb in your rank? Because I don't know, it's harder to see progress in the things that you're doing or the mechanics of your job and seeing how it's contributing to your life. I don't know. Do you really value a teamwork, or you being the leader, or you like role playing and being something else, or customizing your character? Like, what is the purpose of your game and why are you playing it? What's your motivations? And are you getting that in real life? And that's why you are coming back to your game. I don't know. But I think this is a very good article in thinking about the whys and the motivations, because the motivation of your game and why is more important than the actual thing of the game. Whew, that was fun. I think I will. Oh, whoopsies. I think that's the whole thing. Maybe I have to come back down to this. Maybe I have to figure out a way. I don't know if it's like another stream where I go look for articles and then like read them. Or I don't know if this is still entertaining where I just read it live and just give my like ADHD thoughts to it. Or like would it be more helpful if I just like pre-read articles or spent one stream looking for articles and reading things and then like having a fully formed thought and just writing them all down. I don't know. So we are still figuring out the stream about how I want to do, but I'm still getting into the swing of things and finding a better time for me to do it so I'm not so tired, because that's what I learned after a full day of therapy or doing therapy. Then I try to stream and I'm like burnt out, you know? So maybe I'll save the burned out stuff for like playing games and things like that. And I'll save the morning for like these types of reads and things like that. Because it's harder for me to process information later as this day goes on. But hey, listen, if you're using your game for escapism, or if you want to learn more about why you're gaming and how your game is affecting your life and all these things, please visit my website, psychsensei.com. There you can fill out a free consultation form and you and I can sit down and figure out what's going on. What you want to play for and all those kinds of things. And while you're there, you might as well follow me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of it. There can be found on my website, psychsensei.com. All right, my next goal is tomorrow. I will be doing an AMA with the Voltaic group. So if you are part of that community, I'll see you there tomorrow, I believe 2 p.m. PSD. And if not, I'll see you on Friday or Thursday, I believe my next stream is. And same time, around the same time. I'm trying to move it earlier, like 11. But yeah, I hope you guys have a nice week. Thanks for coming out, Dr. Jeeps. Noblin GF, thanks for coming out too. All right, I'll see you guys then. Please be safe. Love ya. Mwah. Take it easy and always. I'm your Psych Sensei, Dr. Ryan Terrell. Peaces. Bye.